everybody, Taria, Vision Avant, and today is January the 29th. That means day 29. That means we got 3 more days, including today. Oh my goodness. Y'all go ahead and drop in the chat space. Let me know what city and state you guys are chiming in from. Where are you chiming in from? City and state, city and state. Listen, I'm not going to hold you up too long because we're going to get straight started into this party real quick. Couple of announcements. Don't forget, for those of you guys who do want to come and learn more about coming on our cruise, we have the Cruise for Authors. Go to cruiseforauthors.com so you can learn details about that. And then also don't forget Ghana. If you want to come with us to Ghana, listen, go to the vocevent.com, fill out the form. We'll send you the details on how you can learn about coming with us to Ghana. But let's go ahead and get into this, guys, because we have 2 speakers. We have a 2-for-1 today. Yes, 2-for-1. Put your city and state in the chat. Atlanta, Georgia, Opelousas, Louisiana, New York, Florida, California, Vegas. What's going on, everybody? Okay, yes, y'all. And then we are streaming all over, y'all. I don't know if y'all noticed, but every single day we have streamed this conference on every one of our social media platforms. So we're all over. So if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on LinkedIn, if you're watching any of this outside of the dedicated YouTube link, you want to go to newyouconference.com. newyouconference.com. That's where you can register so that you can also get an opportunity to enter to win and to get all of the replays. Okay, so as I said, I wasn't going to take up all the time. So let me get into it because we have 2 speakers today. And I'm promising you on everything I love, they are dynamic. Guys, they are amazing. Both of these speakers are about to tear it up. And for the replay, I'll make sure that I separate it. But guys, our speakers are phenomenal. So I'm going to do our first speaker, and then come back. I'll introduce our second speaker, and then we will close out the day. It's a little longer, but I believe if y'all stay plugged in, your life will forever be changed. Let's get into it. I want to introduce you guys to Don Womble, who is an expert speaker, author, and leadership burnout and recovery coach. As the CEO of a large 501c3 organization for over 25 years, he experienced severe chronic burnout during the last 4 years of his tenure. This led to both mental and physical exhaustion, making it difficult to lead effectively at work and, guess what, y'all, even at home. Through his personal experience, Don discovered a 4-step strategy to help burnout leaders recover without losing their minds. This strategy is the foundation of his latest book, Leadership Burnout and Recovery, which not only sheds light on the invisible epidemic, but also provides a step-by-step guide to overcoming burnout. Don's mission is to help burnout leaders recognize their condition, acknowledge it, and find the courage to prioritize recovery without fear of judgment. By embracing this journey, leaders can reclaim their energy, enjoy life, and lead with a renewed purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Womble.
I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak before you and share some things with you. So first of all, I want you to think back to a time in your life where something happened, you had an experience that was used to change your life. I have had many of those, but one in particular was some years ago. I was with a friend, and we were in his sailboat, and we were in a lake, a 4,000-acre lake, and so we were having fun sailing, and as we're sailing along, we capsized. He had already schooled me on what to do. So I was on one side pushing the boat up, and he was pulling the boat down. And so there we were just in the water trying to make all that happen, and the boat was upright again after being capsized. And he yelled to me, "Grab the rudder, grab the rudder, grab the rudder." What had happened is the ropes had tightened, and they did not loosen the sails. And so I reached forward in the water, of course, just, leaning forward as much as you can do to grab the rudder. and it was as though it disappeared right out of my hand. I didn't even touch it. And so there I am, and I'm kind of dog paddling, and I'm watching that boat shoot forward about 100 yards as though it had a motor attached to it. And I'm thinking, wow, this is something. Look at, that's amazing. And then the thought hit me, oh no. And I began to feel the pressure of the water putting pressure on my chest, realizing what had happened. And there we were in the middle of this big lake. And I began to hyperventilate. And so I thought, oh no. And so I had to actually speak to myself out loud. Don, stop. You've got to breathe or you're going to die. What a revealing moment. Looking out in that water across the way, there were no boats in sight. In the distance, we could hear a boat motor. And looking off on the shore, off in the distance, we could see like small little stick figures that were people just walking around. And I thought of the reality of our situation. So mind you, here I am, swimming suit on, and I had on a pair of tennis shoes, just happened to be high-top tennis shoes. Yeah, right. Anyway, there we were. And as I was dog paddling, those tennis shoes that I had on began to just weigh me down. And it was as though that the shoes themselves and the strings began to tighten around my ankle and my feet. And I soon realized if I did not get rid of those shoes, they would certainly cause me issues and not help me survive. And so I tried to just use one foot and push against the other, but they were way too tight. And I thought, I don't want to have to do this, but I did it. I held my breath, went underwater, and pulled one shoe off. I mean, I was just working feverishly on that. The strings were so tight, then worked on the other one, and I dropped each shoe one at a time. And I've got to be honest with you, each time I dropped the shoe, I had an eerie feeling go through my stomach as I knew it was dropping to the bottom of the lake. My friend and I were dog paddling, and so we started doing some swimming. It looked like this was the closest direction for us to go to the shore this way. But at this time, and that's the reason the boat took off like it did, the wind had started making just small waves that were hitting us in the face. So the more we tried to swim that direction, we just seemed to get pushed back. By this time, my friend and I were probably 60 or 70 yards apart, and here we were. I remember thinking, what's the evening news going to say if we don't make it? 2 men, local men, drowned, average swimmers, found their lifeboat with 2 life jackets on the bottom of that boat. And all I could think of everything in my life was my wife and my 2 sons. I had a son that was a young teenager and a son that was about 2 or 3 years old. And that's all I could think about. And you know, when I think about the peril that I was in, I'm reminded so often today in reality of those who are in leadership and leading people, and they're leading an organization, they're leading a company, they're leading a team of people, they're trying to lead their family. And they're under so much stress and bogged down as stress being entrepreneurs, leaders. It's as though the winds and the waves are hitting them in the face and they feel like they're drowning. And maybe I'm speaking to you. It could be that's your life right now. You are so stressed out and so overwhelmed with whatever's going on in your life. And a lot of it probably has to do or possibly has to do with your job and your responsibilities. And you're at your end and you don't know what to do. I was the CEO of a large 501c3 organization for 25 years. I led that organization to the best of my ability. I was respected within the organization. I was respected in the community. But the last 4 years of that tenure, I experienced chronic, severe burnout. It was like my brain was fried and I didn't know what to do and I couldn't hardly do anything. After much contemplation and prayer, I knew that the best thing for me to do was to resign that organization for my own health, for my family, and for the sake of that organization. Let me explain something to you that a lot of people don't understand. If you're experiencing major burnout, chronic, severe burnout, you don't just need a few days off. You just don't need a vacation. The problem is you need more than that, because you are like a candle and the wax is totally burned. The only thing that's revealed now is that small little black wick, and that's how you feel. You know, you're doing life. You're trying to do your job and take care of things, lead your family, and stuff happens. Things happen totally out of your control. Just crazy things happen, and your mind just starts thinking things that you would not normally think. I recall one time I was with a gentleman from the church. He and I were out visiting a family one night who has visited our church and requested us to come and talk with them and answer some questions. And so we were through visiting, and so he dropped me off at the house. I walked up to my front door, and as I'm walking up to the door, the porch light is on. My family's inside. But also around this light, I have all these little bugs that are flying around. And I mean, just, it seemed like 100 bugs are just flying all around that light. And so I pushed some of them away like that. I put my key into the deadbolt to unlock it. And about that time, some little creature flew into my ear. And, you know, of course, I tried to brush it away, get it out, and it was just fluttering loudly, just that. I felt like a pterodactyl had come into my head, actually. And so I go into the house. I said, honey, can you help me? Can you help me? And so we sat down in a chair there in the kitchen. I said, I need you to try to get something to get whatever this is in my ear. It's driving me crazy. It's fluttering, wings, whatever it is. And I can't do anything about it. She goes and gets a pair of tweezers and has me turn my head sideways. And so she goes in there and works a little bit. She said, uh-oh, it went in there deeper. And she pulled out a little leg or something. I said, oh, no. But it was just driving me bananas. And so I was really all stressed out about it. And I said, take me to the ER. So we go to the ER. And so after I get in to see the doctor at the ER, he has me lie down on a gurney. And he has all these tools. And I've never seen any type of tweezers like he had. I mean, they were like the size that you'd work on a horse or an elephant or something. And he gets those tweezers and he puts them down in my ear and starts pulling out little pieces, a leg, a body, a wing, a head, and all these little pieces of this little creature that had flown in my ear. I was so stressed out. My blood pressure had risen. I didn't know it other than just being stressed out. And so they tested my blood pressure. He said, dude, you're going to sit here a while till your blood pressure goes down. So I had to sit there about 30, 45 minutes for my blood pressure to go down. Now, this may seem like I'm overdoing it. It may seem like, well, what are you saying here? To the person who has the burned out soul, you've got all these things in your head. It's like it's just fluttering around in your head and you can't think and you feel trapped. It took me a couple of years to recover from that chronic burnout. And over a period of time, I was able to develop a 4-step strategy for leaders who want to recover from burnout without losing their minds. And so that's what I want to share with you. I developed a little acronym I call RABS, R-A-B-S, and of course each letter stands for something very important. It's part of the strategy. Part of the strategy number one of the R is to recognize what burnout is and to realize whether you have it or not. I'm talking about severity of burnout that has just placed you in your thinking in a really, really dark place. So what are some issues of burnout? I mean, you can look these up, but I mean, think of some right now. What do you think some of the symptoms of burnout is, right? I mean, lack of energy, paranoia, you can't sleep, you can't cope, things you used to enjoy, you don't enjoy anymore, and the list goes on and on and on. And it affects every bit of your life when this happens. Before I resigned that 25-year position, I went on a sabbatical. About 3 weeks into that sabbatical, there was a wedding, and I really felt like I needed to attend this wedding. And so my wife and I went to the wedding. And so we're there at the wedding, and we go ahead and find a place to sit, and we sit down. And as people started coming in, I started feeling that same tightness push against my chest. I felt an anxiety attack coming on. I'd experienced anxiety attacks many times over my whole life, and I knew what it was. I said, babe, I don't know if I can stay, and if I have to leave, I'll be in the car waiting for you. That's what this type of burnout does to you. You feel trapped. You don't enjoy the things you used to enjoy, and you begin to wonder, what can I do? Who can I trust? You know, in the position that I had, there were many responsibilities, and many of these responsibilities I became good at and gifted at over the years. And some of those were just one-on-one with people, but I didn't want that when I became severely burned out. I remember there was one lady, and I'll not mention her name, but known her many, many years. And her family loved my family. And as our kids were growing up, they would even give Christmas presents to our kids every Christmas. And she was in the hospital dying. And I could not make myself go to the hospital. Well, finally I did one time. I just couldn't make myself go. Funerals. We had a lot of funerals going on. By this time, it was a large church. I started with a church with about 60 people, and by this time, it had grown to where there were several thousand people who were coming. And so I had other staff members too, but there's things that I had as a responsibility as the lead pastor to do. And one of those things is people who were really, really close to us, I felt the need to officiate their funerals. In a period of about 7 months, there were about 8 different funerals of people that my family, we were strongly connected with. And they were painful funerals. For me to officiate it was very, very painful to do so. I got to the point where I just couldn't do funerals. I couldn't go to the hospital and make visits. I had the other staff do it. I just couldn't do it. Paranoia, I had it like crazy. It came to the point to where whenever there would be a phone call at the church and I could hear from outside my office, we had a couple of our assistants that were out there, and they were out there taking care of phone calls and everything else. And I could hear when the phone would ring, and sometimes I could hear if my name was mentioned. And one particular time I heard my name mentioned as they're speaking to this individual over the phone. And I thought, I can't talk to anyone. I can't do it. I can't speak to anyone right now. And I literally got up out of my chair, moved the chair back. I got underneath my desk, pulled the chair in. So when our assistant, when she came in, our admin came in, she would think, okay, he slipped out. I didn't know it. Matter of fact, I had an exit door that was opposite from them. But I actually did that one time. It's such a crazy and painful thing. So again, the crazy things that happen in our mind just is somewhere else and almost feels like it's been burned a little bit. I baptized a grandma one time, and she brought all of her family that Sunday morning to baptize her, and some of the family were really faithful to church, and we heated the baptistry up, and during the night, the thermostat got stuck. And so by the time we got to church the next morning, that baptistry water was steaming. You could fry lobsters in that thing. It was really, really hot. And so I told her, you probably shouldn't. She goes, I've got family coming. She was a real nice elderly lady, and she had a really, really rough voice. She said, I got family coming. I no matter what, I'm going to get baptized, preacher. I'm going to get baptized. I said, okay. So I put on my waders, and I got in, and I had an assistant that, of course, helped her get ready for the baptism. And so I get in the water. I have on these rubber waders. I have on a gown, and these waders just sucked to my legs, and the heat, I could feel the heat. And I thought, there's no way this little lady's going to be able to get baptized. And so she came walking in, and I'll make a long story short. I mean, it was not easy, and she was like just not shivering from the cold, but just like she was just almost going in shock, I think. So she came, and I said, we're going to do this really, really fast. And I'll never forget, she looked at me and she said, young man, you're going to fry my brain. And I said, no, I'm not. But anyway, we baptized her. But that's the way you feel sometimes when you get to a point to where you become so paranoid that you can't do your job, and you want to, and you don't know what's going on, and you don't know who to talk to, and you're afraid to talk to anyone. This type of situation brings us to a point to where we are living in a total chaotic state. Well, if that's you, I want you to know there's hope. And if you want hope, there is hope. And I want to help give you that hope. And there's others around you that care about you and love you and want to give you that hope also. Because if you believe there's hope, there is hope. And that hope is just as great as the promises of God himself. So let's think about this for a moment. R in RAB stands for recognize, burnout, realize whether you have it yourself. The A stands for admit. I always say admit it to quit it. So why is it, as individuals, those of us who are leading families, people, we don't want to admit that something really bad is wrong with us? Why? Why is it? I think there's several reasons. Oftentimes it's because we think, hey, I've had tough times in my life. I've been through a lot of struggles, been there, done that. Wait, just a second. I'm a professional. I can do this thing. I don't need anyone's help. So we begin making excuses for ourselves, excuses why we can't do things. And worse, we begin blaming other people if we're not careful. All kinds of things happen inside this mind. It's so complicated. And I'm not a doctor, so I don't understand it all. But I do know that I went through a 1.5 year period where my mind was just so numb. I lost all my emotion. And that was not like me. I'm an emotional individual. I could not cry. And I began to notice I'm not feeling empathy or sympathy for people. I can't even cry, and that bothered me a great, great deal. I went to a psychiatrist. For 3 years, I went to a psychiatrist. For 3 years, I took medication and put me on medication. I'm not suggesting you do that or you don't do that. I'm just telling you what I did. And my psychiatrist, he told me something like this. He said, prolonged burnout, what it does, he said, it thins the prefrontal cortex of the brain, and it causes things to misfire, and therefore it can affect our activities and the way we think and things we do greatly. Well, that's what had happened to me. My youngest son was about 15 years of age. One day I got a phone call from him, and he said, Dad, you got to get home quickly. You got to get home quickly. You and Mom, you got to get home quickly. I said, what's wrong? He said, we destroyed the Smith's swimming pool. And I'm like, oh my goodness, whatever. So we hurried home. We got to the house, pulled up in the driveway, and our house, we live in town, and we live on basically an acre. So we have various houses that go up against our houses one way or another, our fence one way or another, their fences do. And so we walked around the corner, down to the far corner to the Smith's house. She's out in the front yard, and she's almost hysterical. And so we walk up, and we're like, you know, we are almost trembling ourselves, not knowing what to expect and trying to understand what happened here. So she said, you destroyed our swimming pool. And she said that crying, and it was all broken. She said, come look, come look. I said, yeah, we want to see it. So she took us around to the backyard, and there's no way I can explain to you what we saw. There's just no way. They had a gun-out swimming pool, and it did not just raise up out of the ground. It was broken up. She said, every year when you drain your pool, we appreciate it because the water helps us in our grass, and we don't have to water our grass for a couple of weeks usually. But this year we decided to drain our pool and to exchange the tile and work on it a little bit. So what happened is it didn't raise it up as a unit. It just busted it up just like a bomb. Something had exploded it. And if you did not know what it was already, it would take you a moment to have understood that that was a swimming pool. The diving board was basically sticking straight up in the air. PVC pipe was sticking up everywhere. Pieces of tile, pieces of gunite. It was the most horrible looking thing that we had ever seen. And we're standing there, Kathy and I, both basically in tears, not even knowing what to say other than, we are so sorry, and I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to make this right. We're going to take care of this. I'm so sorry. Whatever. Please stay in contact with me. We'll stay in contact with you. Anyway, long story short, our insurance company did take care of it, and they paid them to have all of that broken up, hauled off, and a new pool to be built. But when I think about that story and things I was even going through in my life right at that time in leadership, that kind of is a good way to explain what was happening in my mind with burnout. Devastation. I'd never been there before. Things in my mind just sticking here and there, and just confusion and mass mess is exactly what it was. You see, burnout is real. And you may be going through it, and I want to again challenge you to please get help. You've got to admit it. A young man named Larry called me. He said, "You got to be out any time today?" And I said, "Yeah, probably so." He said, "I need you. I need to talk to you. Really, really bad. I need to talk to you." So I managed to go by, and I walked into Larry's office, and he was working for a good-sized corporation, and I walked in, and on his desk were piles of paper neatly stacked, and on his whiteboard there were all these towns and cities and states and numbers and different things all organized, written on that board. And he said, "You see all of this?" I said, "Yes, sir, I see all of this." He said, "I've done this hundreds of times. I've organized all of this, but right now I can't even touch it. I can tell you how to do it, but I can't touch it. I can't look at it. I don't know what to do. I need help." So I suggested to Larry, I said, "Go talk to your employer and ask him for some time off." And his employer was kind enough to give him some time away. It's such a real thing. I don't know if you've heard of The Who. Not the old rock band, some of you are old enough to remember that, but the World Health Organization, WHO. And they say this about burnout. They say burnout is an occupational phenomenon. And where they have this listed is in their chapter on various diseases. They're not saying burnout is a mental issue, but it's listed in there as a disease. And they say that here's 3 things that happen to people who are burned out. Just to make it short, they made a real short statement. They said, here's what it is. People become totally exhausted, energy depleted. People become numb, and they have all these negative thoughts about where they work and not even want to go to work. And then their desire has totally gone. They have no desire for it. Well, just like my friend and I were finally about 30 minutes or so later, I don't know how long it was, we were rescued by another boat. There's rescue opportunities for you too. But you've got to take the steps in that direction. And so that's why, first of all, R stands for recognize what burnout is, realize if you have it in your life. A stands for admit it, and admit it to quit it. And B stands for bravery. I'll say it like this. Find your brave heart. Put on your brave face. You're going to have to get serious about this thing because you have fear and you feel like you're tripping over it, and you have anxiety that's going on in your life, and you've got, all these, what do people think? If I let people know my mental state, what will my peers think? What will my family think? What will my bosses think? And in my situation, I was thinking, people that I've led for 2.5 decades, what will they think? You get to a point and you don't know what to do. You can't hardly even move. I was visiting a family some years back. They visited our church. And I was talking to them, and just a young couple there, and they were going through a lot of things. And I said, well, hey, can I just share some things from the Bible, maybe to encourage you? So they said, yeah, come over here closer. I said, okay, can I just sit between you? So they were on the sofa, and I sat between them on the sofa. So I had my Bible, reading through some things. I said, so can I pray? And at the end, if you want to pray, you can. And they said, yeah. So I bowed my head and began to pray. And as I'm praying, I felt something land on my head. And I'm like, oh, what in the world? I mean, I could feel it. It was kind of moving around. Now, back then, I had more hair. Y'all go ahead and laugh. I had more hair then, and I used hairspray, right? So this thing's moving around. And then I remembered seeing they had like a parakeet, as we were talking, that flew around a couple times there in their living room and would perch on the curtain rods. And I thought, that bird is on my head right now when I'm praying, trying to help this couple. And he starts moving around. And because I had hairspray, his little talons got entangled in my hairspray. And I felt him, he was trying to lift a leg up, and he couldn't. And I thought, man, those talons are made to do some damage if they want to. And I hope he doesn't start pecking on my head. And I'm thinking all this stuff as I'm praying, right? Who knows? I might have been praying for someone in Guatemala. I don't know. But I was praying and then thinking, and I didn't want that bird to do what birds do sometimes. And so I let them pray. I finished. I let them pray. And about the time the amen was there, the bird took off. To this day, that couple has no clue that bird was on my head while we were trying to pray. I didn't know what to do. And that's what happens in burnout. You become just so frozen, you don't know what to do. I just couldn't move during my time of burnout, and I thought, I've got to move forward. See, you've got all these what ifs, and you're talking to people, and you're like, hey, inside you're yelling, can you help me? Can you help me? But you don't have the words to describe what you're asking them. What if? What if I lose my job? What am I going to tell my family? What if I can't find another job? When I went through this burnout, I was 53 years of age. Although I don't find a job at this time in my life, all these what ifs. But that's where the bravery steps in. Find your brave face, your brave heart, and realize what burnout is, recognize what it is, admit it to quit it. And again, be brave. And let's move to the final, the S in REBS, and that is surrender. What do you mean surrender? Surrender to yourself. And you know what that means? That means pride has to go out the door. And so that means you need to have others around you that are supporting you to help walk through this difficult valley that you're going through in your life. You need to find humility and make yourself be humble enough. Surrender to yourself to do what it takes to heal. I had a guy that I talked to a few years ago named James. And I sitting there talking to James, and he was explaining to me something that he could not even find words for. He was so burned out. He couldn't look at me. This entrepreneur, strong-willed person, very decisive, could not even look at me. And I remember him turning his head to the right, and his lips were shivering, and he said, I can't do it anymore. said, what can you not do? He said, I can't do my job. I can't even look at the computer. And so talked with him and tried to help him over a period of time. He ended up leaving that job. But he's a healed man and doing well. He's an entrepreneur doing very, very well. You remember Larry? Larry ended up leaving his job. Not everyone has to leave their jobs. But he ended up leaving his job, and over a period of time, he grew and developed and was healed, and now he's involved helping a lot of people, that they help a lot of people in the community of which he lives. You see, surrendering to ourselves, which means we've got to have a different mindset. I mean, do you even know who you are? And that's one thing when we're burned out, is we even wonder about our identity. I remember going through that whole thing of identity, and it was like a voice inside of me said, Don, who are you? Where's your identity? Is your identity in your wife? Is your identity in your children? Is your identity in your job? Is your identity in the position that you've held for 25 years? If that's where your identity is, you need to understand that if you lose your wife, or you lose your children, or you lose that job, or you lose that position, then you will have lost your identity. And one thing I began to understand and even absorb and appreciate more is that my Creator created me in such a way that I have to have my identity in who He made me, Don Womble, to be. And the same thing goes for you. Where's your identity? Because if you lose your identity, you will have lost yourself. Again, some of you, you're out there and those waves are coming, and it's just like waves are just hitting you in the face with the pressure that you're in. You've just got to step forward and get some help. I'll tell you what happened for me. My wife was there for me. She gave me support. Several different people, I began to let them into my life to encourage me and help me. I sold Aflac insurance for a while. I had a good friend who gave me the opportunity to work at his company, and I became a project manager. Actually, was a senior project manager. I did that. And through all of this, I am journaling. I started journaling, and I started journaling my prayers. And as I journaled my prayers, things started kind of becoming fresh to me. And I thought, you know what? There's really something else for my life, and I don't know what it is, but I think it's due to my original, as I will call it, my calling, what I should be doing. And so I took a piece of paper and I wrote down 5 things that maybe I could do some of these and walk in this direction to see about doing some of these things. And so I wrote down some things. I thought, okay, just go ahead and get a job out there. I know you're, 55 years old by now, and but you have a master's of business administration. You have some skills leading people. Surely you can get a job out there somewhere and then lead people. I thought, okay, so I put that down as number 1. Sounds kind of good to me right now. Sounds a little refreshing. I'm kind of doing that, but maybe in a different way. Oh, secondly, let's do this. Let's write this one down. Let's go ahead and write down, become bivocational. Go ahead and have an outside job, but also have a position in some ministry and help lead in that ministry. Be bivocational. Then I had a thought, maybe let's be foreign missionaries. Talked to my wife about it. She wasn't real hip on it. Be foreign missionaries. So we started in that direction and started interviewing at different mission boards, going through a whole process. We had one last step to go to, and we were going to be taken care of. And they said, if you do this at 65 years old, you're going to have all your retirement and everything that will be given to you. And well, we said, no, that's not what we're supposed to do. Oh, okay, number 4, maybe I'll just pastor some church somewhere. And the 5th thing came to my mind. Be part of starting a new church, plant a new church, but not be the lead pastor. So I thought I had it all figured out. You know what's strange? The thing that led me to perplexity and led me to such a bad, dark space in my life became the catalyst that led to my destiny. It wasn't long until I can see it now. Imagine this with me. My kitchen table had 5 chairs. I had 5 men sitting around our kitchen table, and each one desiring to be a part of planting a new church in an area somewhere near us. And so we actually that happened. We did it. And in the process of doing that, God spoke to my heart and said, you need to lead this. You need to lead this, and you need to be the lead pastor. God has a sense of humor, doesn't he? Well, I'm glad that he does, because that's what happened. We planted a new church. And as time went by, we were able to acquire another local church that wanted to become part of us, and we all became part together. And so in 2 different cities nearby, we pastor and lead 2 different churches, have ministries within the city. It's really exciting what we see happen in life change. It's a blessing. It's a great thing. You know, there's probably been over 50,000 people, different people that have walked through our doors in these years that we've been open when you put both campuses together. And a lot of lives have been touched, and a lot of lives are being touched. And we're still doing it, and we're enjoying doing that. Oh, I've got to tell you a couple of other things. And the reason I'm telling you this is because there's life after burnout. And that means there's life after burnout for you. It's your turn. We were able to couple, it was laid on my heart, a ministry we call Impact Kids, where we were able to help children in local schools. Every school, in every school district that I know of in America, they have a free lunch system because those families are incapable of paying for lunch for their children at school. And so on Fridays, they go home, and many of those, we did some research, and many of those in our community, those children have nothing to eat over the weekend. So we use this idea. We didn't dream the idea. We read of it somewhere, but we named ours Impact Kids, as I mentioned, to give money. It took about $4 or $5 per bag, per sack, to load it with imperishable goods for them to receive as they get on the school bus each day to go home, to have something to eat over the weekend. So that was our desire, and a company joined in with us on that. And so together we did that for 10 years, and it grew to a point from 1 school to 12 schools in our school district. And we were able to do that all the way up until the time COVID hit, and then it had to stop. And so the schools wouldn't allow that anymore, but that was fine. It was a chapter in our life of getting to do something, but getting and being able to help co-found that was so exciting. Let me tell you this, one more. I'd always had a burden on my heart for our area of people having counseling. And so I approached someone in that same company, a couple of the owners, and I said, what do y'all think about this? They said, you do the research and talk to us, let us know. So we did all the research. All of this came up with ideas. Long story short, that's been about 7 years ago now that we started our counseling center that they're a part of helping us on this. We have licensed professional counselors that counsel, and over 270 sessions per month helping people. You see, there's life after burnout. I'm having the time of my life. I'm enjoying being the lead pastor of the church that I'm a pastor, and getting to lead people and do even new and exciting things, which we've got planned this year. And I'll tell you what else. I'm also an author. I've published 3 books. I'm enjoying this, and I'm able on the side, as part of the ministry and extension part of our church, to help people who are in burnout. You see, if you'll understand these things, realize what burnout is, admit it to quit it if you have it, and then be brave enough with that brave heart to step forward and surrender yourself to do what is necessary to recover from burnout so you can enjoy life and lead again. These are the 4 strategies for any leader who wants to recover from burnout without losing their minds. And I'm offering to you some assistance. If you'll contact me, get on the internet, go to burnout.donwomble.com. burnout.donwomble.com and contact me. Go to that, It'll give you an opportunity to give me your information. And with that, I'm going to give you a video, a short video that will help you with anxiety and burnout and stress. I'm going to give that to you. I want to do this for you and give you this gift. Now, I understand what you're watching today, there's an opportunity for a lot of gifts. So be sure and put in your information because you have the opportunity to win some things. But contact me because I care. I'm an authority on burnout, and I can help you. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Guys, wasn't that incredible? Oh my goodness. Y'all go ahead and drop in the chat right now. One takeaway that you received from Don Womble. Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. I know it was powerful. And now guess what, y'all? I told you we have a 2-for-1. So I'm so excited to announce our second speaker of the night. And it is none other than Dr. Rasheda Jackson. She is a pioneering executive and entrepreneur, bridging the realms of business, spirituality, and empowerment. With 25 years in corporate leadership and 15 years in entrepreneurship, she serves as the COO and co-founder of Be Free University and the VP of operations for a multi-million-dollar brand, making her a standout among African-American female executives. As CEO of Be Free Tax and Business Services, Dr. Jackson is dedicated to financial literacy through biblical lenses, helping others build sustainable businesses. An accomplished author, she has written over 11 books and 8 ebooks focusing on business and taxes. Recently recognized as an Author All-Star, a 2024 Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, and featured in Forbes Tips as an entrepreneur to watch, her impact spans far and wide. A devoted mother and grandmother, Dr. Jackson's legacy is one of empowerment and purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Rasheda Jackson.
Good evening, everybody. I am so excited to be here with you tonight in this New Year, New You Summit workshop. It's been an entire month of nothing but amazing gems from our Book Prophets Club family. And so I'm here to just add to all of the amazing things that you have heard thus far. I'm Dr. Rasheda Jackson. I help leaders and entrepreneurs to niche their niche, streamline operations, and achieve sustainable business growth. We are going to be talking about how to lead into success, learn, elevate, align, and deliver. This framework is designed to help you achieve your goals and your purpose with clarity. I just truly believe that the year of 2025 is all about YOU. It has become evident that this is the season, the time, the year to be completely intentional and to work on the YOU. And that's why I'm excited to talk about leading into success. We're going to learn, we're going to elevate, align, and deliver. Learning is the foundation of growth and the starting point for success. We have to be coachable and teachable. We have to be willing to do what we're doing tonight. Sit here and listen to someone else give us gems and jewels from their experience and their expertise. Learning never stops. I've heard it said that the moment that learning stops, we cease to live. So it's important for us to learn something new every single day. Success begins with acquiring knowledge and skills. Anytime that you feel like you have acquired all of the knowledge, you've reached the PhD level and you have 10 or 20 letters behind your name, then maybe you say, okay, I've learned enough. But that's not the truth. We have the ability, because of how we are created, to continue to learn as long as we're living. So it's important that we take time to learn new skills and acquire the right knowledge to help us to further lead others into success. Maybe you're successful enough, or maybe you need to be led into success. Whatever it is tonight, we're going to dive into it, because continuous learning keeps you relevant in a fast-paced world. Do you all realize how really fast the world is changing, how things are shifting, even right before our eyes? We are living in a time where we are seeing some things that many of us have never seen before. I want to take a moment to reflect on the fact that there are some things that we are seeing that some of us have seen before. But the most that we can do is make sure that we set ourselves up, put ourselves in a place to learn new skills, continue growing our knowledge so that we can continue to grow. Learning is the foundation of growth. Think about it. How do children develop through and matriculate through school? How do they learn to become mature adults? They find themselves in a place of learning, and we pray that they are getting the best foundation for knowledge and skills that they could ever get. Learning keeps you relevant in a fast-paced world. Practical ways that you can continue to learn even at this ripe, beautiful young age is to read books. Read books. Everyone needs to read. Those of us that are authors understand that it's important that you read books in order to continue to write, because reading develops your intellect. You hear things from the inside, from the perspective and the vision of other people, and it inspires you and causes you to continue to be creative. Reading is, we used to say, fundamental, but many people have gotten away from reading, and now maybe sometimes they listen to podcasts or audiobooks or things like that. But I just want to remind you that reading is so very important. It develops your vocabulary, and it keeps you on a fast pace, in a place of fast-paced relevance, and it also it helps you to be able to articulate better when you are explaining topics. Maybe you're explaining your product, or maybe you're explaining your service to people. Whatever it is, if you take the time to read, you will find new words. You will find new ways to explain things that maybe you didn't discover before just by simply picking up a book. The next way that you can continue to learn is to seek mentorship. Everybody needs a coach. I'm so thankful for my coaches. I'm so thankful for my coaches, but I'm most thankful for my coach here at BPC that really pushes us every single day. Everyone needs to have someone that is going to bring life, that is going to help you to birth your mission, that is going to help you to push through those times when you just want to quit. Anybody ever had a moment where you just wanted to quit? You just want to back up. You didn't want to do it anymore? That's why you need a mentor. They will also help you to learn. I've heard one of my mentors say through the years that the quickest way to success is through mentorship, is through coaching. And the other way that you can continue to learn is to stay informed on technology. Maybe you don't want to use all the technology. Maybe you don't want to touch something new, but you can stay relevant and you can continue to learn if you at least know what's happening. I believe that AI scares a lot of people, but there's also almost no way to avoid it. We are in a place in this fast-paced world that we are in now, not even knowing if things are real or not, simply because we have AI who has entered into our world. It's just how quickly things are happening and how quickly they are going on. And if we're not geared to learning, we're going to be left behind. You've got to stay informed. Ask yourself, what skill or area of knowledge can I enhance this year? Do I need to learn how to invest? Do I need to learn how to structure my business? Do I need to learn how to niche my niche so that I can mind the business that pays me? This is the time and the season to be straight up about where you're going, to have clarity, to have clear vision about what is next for you and for your business. And you can only do that by being given to learning. The next letter in leading to success is to elevate. Anybody want to go higher? I love the word elevate, and when you see my hands flying, you know I've gotten excited. I love the word elevate. It encourages me to know that we are going to another place. Elevation from one level to the next level. Can anybody relate? I'm sure nobody wants to be stagnant. You don't want to be in the same place that you were last year. This time you want to be somewhere else. You want to elevate. You want to grow. Elevate means lifting yourself. And once you've lifted yourself, you can lift others to higher levels of excellence. You know, I'm always reminded, I fly a lot. You've got to put your mask on before you put on someone else's. And that's the same thing when it comes to elevation. You have to take the elevation so that you can pull others up. Many of us are in a process of leading, and we're in the process of learning, and we're in the process of elevating. But throughout all of that, we're picking up luggage, people, places, and things that act as distractions. So in order to elevate, you've got to drop some things that are going to weigh you down. You got to lighten the load, friends, so that you can get to where you're going. You want to know that you are on the right path, going in the right direction. Success starts with a growth mindset. Elevation starts here. Elevation starts here. It starts at the paramount point, the paramount place, the zenith of your life. It starts at the top with you, which is your mind, your central nervous system, the control system, the place that all things happen. And one thing that I know for sure, and I'm big on in dealing with my clients, is belief. You've got to believe that you, Y-O-U, this is the year of you. You've got to believe that you can improve and achieve the goals that you're setting. If you don't believe them, then who's going to believe them? The thing about belief is that it's very hard to sell belief. You have to walk in belief. You have to display belief. Your gravitas, your aura has to speak belief in order for others to believe that you believe what you're saying. Belief is so important that it's one of the most important words, even in scripture. It literally says, Jesus told a man to do what? Only believe. That's the biggest requirement to life and success, is to believe. And you've got to believe that you can achieve it. You've got to believe that success is your right, that it's for you, that it's your birthright, that you can elevate and not feel guilty for growing beyond where you are. Elevate others after you have gotten to a place that you are secure. Do y'all know, like riding on the elevator, it stops on floors? It stops on floors. But we all start at ground level. But if we're starting at ground level and our elevator is full, what happens? Elevators have a capacity. The next time you get in the elevator, look on the wall. It has a weight limit. If your elevator is overweight, it's not going to the next floor. But those of you that are in the business of elevating others, if you will take that elevator up a floor, you can pick up somebody there. You can take it up another floor. You can pick up somebody there. You can go up to the next floor, and some of those people will get off of your elevator because they've gotten to the place that they need to be, and now you can take on more people. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? The higher you go, the different levels you reach, the different audience you will speak to, the different clients you will have, the different people you would have already taken to levels that they needed to be at. They can get off on the floor that they need to be at, and you'll pick up new people on that very same floor. The goal is to keep going and to continue elevation, but you must do that without being overweight, without being weighted down. You cannot have more than you need on your elevator at one time, because we got to keep going. We have to keep going. The next thing about belief is that belief is directly attached to elevation, because belief means you are in the process. Currency, right? You're in the process of overcoming your own doubt. Self-doubt. You're overcoming your self-doubt because you've stepped into a place to lead others. You stepped into a place of leadership roles, or even in entrepreneurship, you have to overcome the doubt and the fear that will literally come and sit on your chest in the morning when you don't have a structured place that you've got to go and punch into. The first year of leadership in entrepreneurship, you have to overcome self-doubt by stepping into leadership roles and trusting your own capabilities. Don't be afraid to lead other people. Don't be afraid to lead yourself. Don't be afraid to bend the rules. You've got to trust your capabilities. You've got to continue to sell what you sold. You've got to make sure that your capabilities align with your abilities and that you're able to execute in excellence. And this will cause your elevation to continue and to be rapid. Commit to one action that helps that helps to elevate yourself and helps to elevate someone else. Commit to one action. Let's talk about it. What is that one action? What is that one thing that in 2025 you can commit to that will help you to elevate? It may be, let me give you some examples. It may be, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to start my reading, my morning meditations, my prayers, and then I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to take a quick walk. I'm going to start my day early. Maybe that is one of the things that's going to help you to elevate, because now you've made time and space to enrich your mind, connect with God, to ensure that you're going on the right path for the day. Every day may have a different path. So that committing to one action is important, because it means that you have the propensity to change and go in the direction that you need to go in order to raise, lift yourself up, and to elevate others. And the A in leading to success is for align. I can remember being unaligned in the beginning of 2024, just out of whack, y'all. And I'm being completely honest, just out of whack. And sometimes life is like that, right? Because life be lifing. That's how we say it. Can y'all say it for me? Life be lifing. And I can remember being unaligned and saying a very simple prayer. I said, God, when I get to this place, I was going on vacation before I took on a contract. I said, Lord, when I get to this place, I want you to meet me there. And I want to meet you in the mornings, and I want to meet you at sunset on the ocean side. And I want to talk to you. And I want you to show me the direction that you need for me to walk in order for me to, guess what, you guys, learn more and elevate. I had to align. For me, it was aligning with my Creator. Alignment ensures that your goals, your values, and your actions work in harmony. When you align, you bring everything under subjection of your purpose and your passion. It allows you to run your race swiftly without getting tired, because you have a set time and a set goal, a set place to be. Alignment is so important, even like our bodies, right? When we get out of line, we have to go to a chiropractor to do what? Align us, because we're walking, our gait is funny, our knees hurt, something's happening. And sometimes you just need an alignment. So with aligning yourselves, you want to make sure that you align all of your goals. Your personal goals should align with your professional goals, because this will help you to avoid burnout and find fulfillment in the process, in what it is that you're doing and where you're going. Surround yourself with people and opportunities that support your vision. That's alignment. Some of us have the wrong people on the bus. Some of us have the wrong people on the boat. Some of us got the wrong people in the tribe. Okay. Alignment means cleaning all of that up, getting things straightened out, getting people off the bus, kicking people overboard, getting people out of our space and out of our home, so that we can surround ourselves with the people and the opportunities that support our vision. Reflect on whether your current path aligns with your ultimate goal. Does the path that you're going on align with exactly where you're going? I had to let that one sink in. Because sometimes we're just running, we're going, we're busy, we're buzzing like bees, we're all over the place, right? And we might be on a path that is taking us further away from the ultimate goal. And that's why alignment is so important, because it brings it into perspective if we are on the right path. If we're on the right path to get to where we're trying to go. Have you ever just had the wrong directions? You just had the wrong directions to get to a place, and you end up having to turn around, go another way. Or for me, it's like making left turns, turn around, making U-turns in circles. Does that drive anybody else crazy? That makes me crazy. I don't like to make left turns. I don't like to make U-turns. I like to know where I'm going and go in that direction and in that direction only. And so in order for me to do that, I have to align the path that I'm going to take with where it is that I want to end up. And that's what it is. That's the key to aligning for success. Professional and personal goals need to work together so that you are not doing like this. If your house is divided against itself, it will not stand. It will not. It's impossible because you cannot keep it all together. You will burn out and you will be tired. And we are about being new in this 2025 because it's all about the new and the Y-O-U. And my last letter tonight, guys, is to deliver. Delivering means turning plans into action and staying consistent. It just means focus. Deliver what you have said and what you have promised. Show up. Make sure that you are selling what you sold and delivering what you sold. Make sure that you focus on discipline and persistence when it comes to achieving goals that you have set for yourself. This is about you. This is about you. How can you deliver? How can you deliver? How can you show up for yourself? How can you deliver for your clients and your customers? Don't fear failure. People say success leaves clues. I say failure leaves clues because when you look at the success of some of the largest corporations, companies in this world globally, there were many failures that led up to success. So what I want to say to you tonight is do not fear failure and do not think that all failures are the end all to be all, because failures are lessons that will help you to learn how you can do it faster, how you can do it better, how you can deliver with great excellence. Let me tell you something. When it comes to failure, progress is so much more important than perfection. If you can just keep going, do not stop, don't quit, you will eventually get there. If you're on your aligned path, it does not matter. You will get to the expected place, the expected point, the place that you have for yourself to achieve. You will get there, but you cannot quit. So you've got to deliver and stay focused. You've got to show up for you, for yourself. What I want you to do is set measurable goals for the next 90 days and commit to achieving them. They have to be measurable. There's got to be a number attached. There's got to be a date attached. And what I want to remind you is if you don't hit the number or you don't hit the date, you do it again, because repetition is going to create a muscle memory that is then going to make it easier for you to do it over. Make sure that you just deliver for you. Success comes from taking action consistently. And that is what I love so much about what we do here. Taking action consistently. There is somebody talking to you every single day about taking action, making sure that you are doing something that is going to bring you to an expected goal, to an expected end, to a place where you can say, yes, I did that. I made it to success. You've got to remember that this is all about new year, new you. We talked about the mindset. Success is waiting for you. All you have to do is take action consistently and be intentional. Intentionality is the closest thing to the gifts that you will ever touch physically that are inside of you. Intention communicates that you heard and that you understand, that you received the communication that you needed to take the actions consistently. Take action consistently. Intentionality means that you know how to be consistent in taking action. Remember, the LEAD framework is to learn, elevate, align, and deliver. Many people don't achieve the success they think that they should or that they deserve simply because they don't think it's for them. But one thing that I know for sure, all of you have come in here. Many of you have been here every single night and you cheered us on. If you cheered for other people. And what you make happen for someone else intentionally, God is working to make happen for you. Success isn't accidental. It's intentional. And it's bred out of consistent, intentional actions and behaviors. Write down your next steps. What are your next steps? Use the LEAD framework. How can I learn? Write it down the side of your paper. L-E-A-D. What can you learn? How can you elevate? What needs to be aligned? And how can you deliver? Share one commitment with an accountability partner to help you stay focused. One commitment. Don't share them all. Don't share them all, but share one commitment with an accountability partner. That's someone that you know in your knower that wants you to win. That's somebody that you know in your knower that's your midwife. That's somebody in your knower that is going to help to push you to your next level. I want to thank you for your time. It is my prayer, it is my earnest prayer, my desire for you that you have a successful 2025. I pray that there is a new year for you. I pray that there is a new you in this new year. It's been an excellent time tonight. Remember that you can lead into success. Learn, elevate, align, and deliver. God bless you.
Yes. Are you guys still here? Oh my goodness. Congratulations to all of you guys. We have 2 more days left. Thank you so much for plugging in. And man, right now, I need you to drop in the chat space a takeaway that you received from Dr. Rasheda Jackson. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, this one, I want to clarify one more other thing. We have 2 more days left. Go ahead in the Facebook event, drop in the chat one of the biggest takeaways from tonight, but also note you must be on live on the 31st. If your name is called, you must be there. I pray that everybody who is qualified is on that live, because we're not going to give you a specific time. It's going to be when we finish the power talk, right? That lets us know you were live. So when we finish the power talk, we're going to go straight into selecting 2 more names to pre-qualify them for the $1,000 giveaway, as well as the flat screen TV. And then we will select the winners based on the pre-qualifiers and the number of times that they have been submitted in to be entered. So guys, all I'm saying, don't miss this. Don't miss this. Don't miss this. Because that is the luck of the draw. That's just how things typically are, guys. Sometimes you're given an opportunity, and that opportunity goes to that person one time. And so one thing I want to tell you guys is you cannot ask for the blessing and not be there when the blessing is delivered. So make sure, show up tomorrow, because we have another amazing speaker, and then I will see you guys on January 31st. So January 30th and the 31st, make sure you plug in. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's it. That's all. God bless you all, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Deuces. Bye, y'all.